Looking back at this season, it really felt like a turning point in our sailing journey. Philip and I enjoyed this summer so much. We learned so much about ourselves and our boat. We learned that a new head sail can make all of the difference, and after hand steering for 480 miles to Traverse City, so does an autopilot. Adding solar power and a propeller that's capable of getting regen has been bumped up on our list of priorities. A new duck valve on the head can really make or break a sailing trip. Flying a symmetrical spinner for the first time in 20 knots of true wind is dicey at best. Although I will say there was not 20 knots of wind when we started. There was like maybe 6 or 7 knots of wind when we started. So, lesson learned. Tell me when. Okay, good. That was utterly terrifying. Sailing with a schedule is just really stupid. We also found out how well Philip and I's strengths and weaknesses complement each other, and there was a few times where we really tested those for better or for worse vows. We got a lot better at communicating, we sailed further than we ever had, we sailed longer than we ever had, and in conditions that we were definitely not really comfortable with. I learned that I have a really hard time being motivated to go sailing when it's just for a little bit if we don't have a place that we're trying to get to, but as soon as the main is up, I am so happy that we left the dock. And, at least for now, I am over my fear of the boat heeling past 15 degrees, and that makes me so happy because I have really struggled with that. And while Philip added happy wife, happy life to the list, I will translate that into reef early and reef often. Even though we struggled finding a balance with friends and family, boat work, sailing, editing, and on top of that, both of us working full-time jobs, it felt like we were just starting to understand our new boat, and it was time to haul her out and put her to bed. But let me tell you, she really needs the beauty sleep. In Michigan, there's a running joke about how much road construction gets in the way during the summer months, or well, warmer months, and often people will say that there's really only 2 seasons in Michigan. There's road construction and winter. And for Philip and I, it's either sailing season or it's boat work season. This always makes moving bittersweet. We're really sad to move off of the boat, but we are so excited to dig into all of our projects this winter. Alrighty, there's our first load of stuff. Look at how empty the marina is. Once we had most of our belongings packed up, we disembarked. We are fortunate that Phillips Grandma's cottage is open to us again this winter, and as you can see, the lighting is not really conducive to quality video. This is the one with all the books in it. With the knees. Staying out of the yard crew's way, I was able to watch from my office as Bombadil was hauled out and power washed, and then a few days later the mast was stepped. Back to the cottage, the view is spectacular just a couple hundred feet down the road. And within a week of moving, we were treated to a rare white Halloween, and the trick-or-treaters were few and far between. I do not blame them. But it melted quickly, and then a real gale came rocketing up from the south. With the waves roaring and the wind whipping up a natural sandblaster for my new shoes, I took a walk down the beach to Holland State Park. Mentally, I have really struggled with moving off of the boat, and this year was probably the worst one yet.
It's hard, I know I'm better off just restarting, but you still own my heart, and I want more than anything to just move on. Whoa, I'm still hurting in my mind. Whoa, got a feeling that this time, whoa, without you here in my nights, I won't admit that it's my fault, 'cause I know you don't care at all. I hate admitting that I crossed a
Once I got down to the state park, there was a surprising number of people there enjoying the weather. With the wind blowing 25 to 35 knots out of the southwest and waves reaching 7 to 10 feet, surfers dotted the water where the waves wrap around the pier to give them a cleaner line, and several kiteboarders jockeyed for position around them and did their best to also catch some waves and some airtime. I didn't really put on enough layers to be comfortable standing there in the wind, and my feet were still soaked from the wave that caught me by surprise jumping into my short deck boots. Unfortunately, I had to start my walk home a bit earlier than I had really wanted to. I got a few shots in of what I thought was going to be the bulk of the sunset, and then I started my trek home collecting any trash that I found along the way. It's always sad to me finding balloons and their strings, fishing line, and beer cans half buried in the sand, and I always regret not taking at least a little bag along with me to collect all of my extra stuff I find. As I got closer to home, the sunset took a drastic turn, and suddenly I was walking into candy floss pink clouds on the north side of the sky. When I stopped to get a particularly gnarly fishing lure out of the sand, and I cannot imagine walking down the beach with my bare feet and finding this beast, I realized that the real show was behind me. Next week, I'll have a little snippet for you from our weekend up north, and after that, we will be back for a new season of boat work, and you guessed it, more boat work. We have a long and ambitious list, and not nearly enough decent weather to get it done in.